Good evening. This is Kay Aubrey Shemaine, and this is the Always Shine Your Light Equine Energy Point Education Series. We meet every Tuesday night to talk about equine energy points and healing horses, usually with light, but all modalities are welcome. I am the owner and director of Grand Adventures Ranch, a holistic equine wellness center in Sonoita, Arizona, which is about an hour southeast of Tucson. And tonight I just wanted to go over a little bit of something that some people may think it's silly to talk about in a therapy class, but I see this come up all the time. And when no means no, what do you do? What would you do if you went to your doctor or a therapist, they walked up, didn't say a word, and just started poking you, taking your clothes off, doing whatever. It didn't talk to you, didn't introduce themselves at all. You know, do you do that to most horses? I see a lot of therapists or trainers or vets that just walk right up and grab. And then we end up with horses who are very upset and doing that. If you didn't tell me what you were going to do, I'd get upset as well. I taught a class up in Washington a few years ago. There were 30 or 40 people in the class. And I explained at the beginning of the class that we were going to go out to these horses, and the first thing we were going to do is walk up to the horse, tell them who we were, and ask permission. And I had a couple of old cowboys in the back of the room, and I could just tell by their body language that they were not happy with this concept. They had the old crossed arms and sitting back and rolling their eyes at this crazy woo-woo lady was trying to tell them what to do. They'd been with horses a lot longer than I had, and to heck with me. We had 2 horses in a big therapy room, and we split the class into 2, and each person was going to go up to the horse, introduce themselves, and they were going to be looking for 5 different energy points on the horse, which means they had to go up, and in a couple of cases they were running their hands under the horse's belly. We had about 20 people per horse. Most everybody made it through. The horses were very pleasant and welcoming and helpful until all of a sudden we had a big skirmish and a horse came out and just kicked the crap out of someone. Guess who? And sure enough, it was one of these old-time men. He had just walked up and he was sure nothing was going to work, but he had an attitude, and that horse hauled off and just let him have it. And when I asked him, did you ask permission first? The light bulb went on. It was like the first time in 50 years it had ever dawned on him that maybe that horse owned his own space. And sometimes the answer is just no. I don't want you to work on me. I don't know you. I don't trust you. Or I hurt. Or somebody else has hurt me, and so I don't trust anybody new. I only trust that person who rides me every day, if that. And when you force that issue, that's when people get hurt. They get kicked, they get shoved up against a wall, and I've had this happen to me a couple of times, and I have to remember, oh yeah, I'm in their space. It's another reason why I don't like working on a horse in their own stall unless I absolutely have to, because that's their space. It should be up to them. And then the next, what do we do when they say no? Do we just walk away, or do we force the issue? Well, the clue is to ask. Stop and tell them what you're going to do. Don't assume, and don't assume that horses can't understand what you're saying. When you take the time to picture what it is you're going to do, holding that picture, setting your intention, and explaining that you want to help, your body language changes. The hormones and so on that you put through your breath change. And the horse will usually change to that. They're brilliant at being able to read body language and intention. Then when you see the eye relax, or the ears relax and soften, or the body moves toward you, they come over and they bring their head to you and they offer themselves, then you're ready to go. Then you're safe. Though that could change if you get dumb during your whole session. But if the answer is still no, and this is tough if you've been hired by someone to come out and work on their horse. It's easier if it's your horse. You can always go back later. The answer is still no. You might have to do something else for a while. Most horses like to be groomed. Pick up a brush, groom them. Play with their tail, do something else, do something that you think they'll like. Not necessarily just treats, because that doesn't really change your body language. But if the answer is truly still no, I'm not going to walk with you, you're not going to brush me, I'm going in a corner, then you're done. I explain to my owners that I work with, it's not going to work. The therapy's not going to help the horse if they're not going to accept it, if they're tight and rigid, and it's not worth either one of us, the horse, myself, or you, getting hurt. And I walk away. And that's a really tough lesson to learn. But most real horsemen will respect you for it. And maybe you go back in half an hour, or you leave that horse down the shed row from you where he can see what's going on, and you work on another horse, even if you weren't paid to work on that horse. When they start feeling those energy shifts and the other horses relaxing and letting go of all those pheromones, a lot of times then they'll accept you.